Tea with Tolkien, a podcast for the Hobbit at heart. Pull up a cozy chair and join us as we chat about the works and faith of J.R.R. Tolkien and strive to carry a little piece of Middle-earth into our own daily lives. Chapter 21 of Túrin Turambar. Rhiann, wife of Huor, gave birth to a son named Tuor in the months after her husband died, and he was fostered by the Grey Elves of Mithrim, and she died shortly after. Morwen, wife of Hurin, had 3 children, Túrin, Lalaith, who died at the age of 3, and Nienor. In the time when Morwen was pregnant with Nienor, the Easterlings oppressed the people of Hador, and Morwen feared that Túrin would be enslaved, and so she sent him to live in Doriath. Túrin was raised in Doriath and fostered by Thingol, and really accepted and loved as if he were his own son. Thingol sent messengers to Hithlum, bidding Morwen and Nienor to join them in Doriath, but she would not leave the house in which she had lived with Hurin. Aside from the sadness and worry that came from being apart from his mother, Túrin had a good life in Doriath, and he was loved by Thingol. When Túrin grew, he became friends with Beleg Strongbow. One day, Cyros, one of the Nandor, was taunting Túrin, and Túrin lashed out at him. And the next day, Cyros kind of wouldn't let it go, and so he got into a little altercation with Túrin, and as a result, he died by accident. And Túrin, upon seeing this, was like, I'm pretty sure I'm an outlaw now, even though everyone assured him that he would be pardoned, and Thingol eventually did promise to pardon him. But after this, Túrin did not want to go back to Doriath, and he ended up living in the wilderness with a band of criminals. Now, Beleg was like, I really want to find him. This is important, and he wanted to tell Túrin that he would be pardoned. So he sought him out, and he tried to persuade him to come back to Doriath, but he refused. Beleg returned to Thingol and resolved to go back out once again to seek out Túrin. Beleg was given a sword and a store of lembas. Now, at this time, as Túrin was, roving around the countryside, getting into mischief, he and his companions took a dwarf named Mim captive, and they were going to kill him, but Túrin pitied him and instead spared his life and told him to bring them to his home. Túrin realized when he got there that he had killed Mim's son, and upon seeing this, he repented of his outlandish ways, and he promised to pay Mim a ransom of gold for his son, and after that, he lived in his home. After some time, Beleg and Túrin met once more, and since Túrin would not return with him, Beleg decided just to remain with their company. At this time, Túrin learned a lot about the dwarves from Mim. He learned that his people, the petty dwarves, hated the Noldor because he felt that they had stolen their lands, and they had discovered Nogrod and deepened the caves over the long years. And then the elves just kind of came in and kicked him out and took all their stuff, basically, is how he felt. Now, every so often, Morgoth would send out his forces across Beleriand, and Túrin bore his father's dragon helm in battle, and because of this, Morgoth heard rumors and he knew that he had found Hurin's son, and so he sent out his spies to find him. Mim was taken captive by orcs and was once again forced to lead them to his home, where they ended up capturing Túrin and slaying most of his company. However, Beleg was left alive, and he looked desperately for Túrin after that. Beleg met up with Gwyndor, and they searched together for Túrin. After a while, Beleg and Gwyndor found Túrin, and they cut him free. However, Túrin had been tormented for a while and was not fully with it, and so seeing someone above him with a knife, he mistook Beleg for an orc and ended up killing him. After he did this, he realized what he had done, and he repented bitterly. After this, Gwyndor and Túrin went to Nargothrond together, but Túrin did not tell anyone his real name. There, Finduilas, who had loved Gwyndor, decided that she liked Túrin instead, which is a bummer for Gwyndor, and so then Gwyndor told Finduilas Túrin's real name. However, it didn't really matter because Túrin didn't love her back, and he was pretty mad at Gwyndor for revealing his name. At this, Gwyndor replied, "The doom lies in yourself, not in your name," which I thought was a pretty good response. So Túrin stays in Nargothrond, and he becomes a great warrior, and he is deep in the council of the king. He counseled the king to fight in open battle rather than in stealth, and he advised him to build a bridge over the river Narog. At last, in this time, Morwen and Nienor fled to Doriath, seeking out Túrin, but then when they got there, they were sad to learn that Túrin wasn't there anymore. Nevertheless, they remained in Doriath. Ambassadors came to Nargothrond and urged the king to cast down this great bridge, but Túrin wouldn't allow it, and for some reason, Túrin's word had a lot of sway in Nargothrond. Then after a while, Morgoth sent out his forces against Nargothrond, and Gwyndor died out in battle. And as he died, he warned Túrin to return to Nargothrond and to save Finduilas. Tolkien writes, "And this last I say to thee, she alone stands between thee and thy doom. If thou fail her, it shall not fail to find thee. Farewell." After this, Túrin fled back to Nargothrond, but Glaurung the dragon was there before him. Tolkien writes, "In that day the bridge over Narog proved an evil, for it was mightily made and could not swiftly be destroyed, and the enemy came readily over the deep river. And Glaurung came in full fire against the doors of Felagund, and overthrew them and passed within." So here we're seeing that, yes, it was a bad idea to build that bridge, and I don't know why they listened to Túrin. Glaurung then blocked Túrin from the bridge so he couldn't get in to rescue Finduilas. When Túrin saw the dragon's eyes, he fell under a spell, and the dragon spoke to him. Tolkien writes, "And Túrin, being under the spell of Glaurung, hearkened to his words, and he saw himself as in a mirror, misshapen by malice, and he loathed what he saw." So Túrin is solidly under the spell of Glaurung. And after this, Glaurung told Túrin to go to his kin and cursed him as he fled away. So Túrin is very stressed out, traveling as fast as he can, and he came to Dor-lómin seeking his mother, but then he learned that they had gone to Doriath. And after this, he decided not to go to Doriath because he realized in kind of this, under this spell of hatred for himself, he felt that he brought doom with him wherever he went. Tolkien writes, "For a shadow I cast wheresoever I come. Let Melian keep them, and I will leave them in peace unshadowed for a while." So instead, he decides to search for Finduilas. But it was too late for her, and she had already died, and he fell into a grief that was like death upon learning this. He was taken in by the people of Halath, and they gave him a new name, Turambar, which meant Master of Doom. In this time, Morwen left Doriath in search of Túrin, and Nienor fled as well. Nienor ended up meeting Glaurung, and she stared straight into his eyes, and he cast a spell of forgetfulness upon her, so she couldn't even remember her own name. And then Glaurung left her standing alone upon Amon Ethir, and he went back to Nargothrond. After orcs assailed them, Nienor was lost in the wood, and Turambar found her and brought her into a lodge nearby. Since she didn't know her own name, Turambar named her Niniel, Tear Maiden. After 3 years, Turambar and Niniel were married. And after a while, Turambar had to go off once more to fight Glaurung. Eventually, Turambar killed Glaurung, but he was burned by his venomous blood, and he swooned and, quote, lay as one dead. Niniel came to find Turambar, and Glaurung spoke to her, saying, "Hail, Nienor, daughter of Húrin. We meet again ere the end. I give thee joy that thou hast found thy brother at last." So at this point, she realizes that she is married to her brother. Ooh. After this, Nienor then cast herself off a cliff into the waters and died as a result of the terrible knowledge that she was married to her brother, and she had perceived that he was dead. So after a while, then Turambar awoke, and he killed Brandir because Brandir had been saying everything that he heard Glaurung say, and Turambar was like, no, that's not true. But after he killed him, he understood that actually what he was saying was not wrong, and it was totally unjust of him to kill him. And then after this, Turambar kills himself. Next, we are going to be covering chapter 22 of the Rune of Doriath. This video is a part of our Silmarillion guide series, which offers a quick and easy to understand introduction to the events, characters, and world of the Silmarillion. This guide is also available as a free ebook, which can be downloaded at teawithtolkien.com/shop. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing or telling a friend about tea.